All right. So I'm now going to go over the most easiest way to tune this machine, and you should not be afraid of this. And it's the stroke adjustment. And I want this as simple and user-friendly as possible. And basically, your machine's going to come pretty much always set up on the default setting, which is the middle range of this stroke wheel. And the nice thing about these stroke wheels is you can't get lost. You can't back this thing out too far. No matter what, on the shortest setting, it's going to run and it's going to hit stop. And if you rotate more, now I'm on the longest setting. And it's going to hit pretty hard, but not terribly hard. Then you go to this middle mark, and you have your default setting. If you don't want to ever mess with it, you can always, from that default setting, I can still turn this down really low. I mean, I'm at, right here, I'm at 4 volts, and the thing's thumping. At really low volts, maybe if I want to get a little bit more thump, I can lift up on my rubber band. And now it's gonna thump a little bit more because you got rid of some return spring tension there. Or I could turn it up and then I can have it hit harder. If I wanted to, I want to run a 14 liner, I can just turn up the volts to 6.5 or so and go cruising. Or I can start playing with the stroke. So from the default setting, you can kind of get about everywhere, except you can't get the really big groupings and you can't get the really small groupings. But pretty much anywhere from 5 to 11s, I feel like you don't really need to mess with this. But then say you want to run a slow, punchy kind of a hit. Maybe you're on the kidneys or something like that on flabby skin, and you can't get away with a fast, zippy liner. You need something that has a long throw and a lot of punch, but you can't go too fast because the skin can't handle that many cycles. So at that point, I'm going to lengthen the stroke, and I can turn this down. Right now I'm at 5 volts with a nice long throw. And I'm gonna be able to still drive a 14 liner into the kidneys or into like the back of the arm or something like that, and not be chewing somebody up. Or maybe for your shading, you want to turn it down. You can lengthen the throw that way. Or if I want a fine line, anytime we go on like smaller needles, like a 5 liner or below, I'm gonna flip my polarity around the opposite way, to where my positive connection is going to the bottom, and that is going to drive the cam this way. And when it does, it brings the bar down a little bit slower, so it's not as aggressive. Whereas this way, it's almost it's really slamming down that bar instantaneously, and you can't really hear it as much, but you can feel it in the skin. And sometimes it hits a little faster going this way because there's less resistance. But it also is a gentler type of a hit when it goes that way. So if I'm running singles and up to 5 liners, I like to go positive down. I'm going positive down, and I might put on the shortest stroke. And then maybe if I want to start doing more stippling stuff, since I always want to stipple a little bit if I'm using a fine liner, there's going to be an element I might do some stipple shading. Now I start lengthening it and turning it down even more. And I can kind of just play with, I'm just gonna play with that stroke and get that hit where I want it. And if I get confused, I just go right back to that middle setting and know that that's where we're setting it up to send it out to you.